Can you imagine this? You're making yourself 7,000 Kenyan shillings in your business. And by the way, this is not gross sales. This is actually net profit. But you're not in a position to actually save a dime out of that business. You can't even tell exactly what's going on in your business. This is a case scenario of a client who called me and asked me the same question. And I thought it's wise to make a decision, or rather make a video and explain to you what you're supposed to be doing so that at least you can be able to monitor your business in terms of your profits, how you're supposed to monitor it so that you grow your business exemplary. Okay, now let's get into the business. Okay, but before we do that, guess what? I always post a video each and every time. So if you don't want to miss any piece of my good videos, take 1 second. It doesn't cost you nothing. Down below there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button, like the video, and also comment down below. Tell me what you think. So let's get into the business. Now, this is an individual who is running a business. Let's not go into the specificities of the business. Let's just say it's a business called X. The business called X makes a net profit of cash 7,000 Kenyan shillings, and this is each and every day. But the problem is that this individual is not in a position to actually go ahead and be able to save. Why? This is the problem. Why? In a business, we have variety of things that we say, hey, number one, we usually have the stock. Stock, this is the amount of money that you need to operate that business. Say you're buying something to sell at a profit. That's what we call the capital gain, right? So there is stocking, right? The other thing is that you have a day-to-day activities. You have to pay people, or maybe let's say you have what we call the real life things that you have to pay. You have to pay your bills. You have the personal usage. Let me just classify it. You have what you call the personal usage, right? On the other hand, you usually have what we call the savings for the purposes of investing, either for the same business, or maybe doing something called having another different kind of a business, or just call it a saving. So at last particular point, you have these three things, and this is where people get it wrong. And how they get it wrong is because they don't understand the difference between the two things, or rather the three things. Now, what happens is that you've gotten your 7,000 Kenyan shillings, okay? And I'll give you a very typical example. You have employees who you've employed, who you need to pay. Let's say it's a business that you have employed, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 people. All right, this is the amount of money that you get. You have your rental house that you have to pay from the business. You have your home rental house. You have your food. You have your rent. You have all your school fees and all other things that you need to do out there. Another thing you ought to save, because I always tell people you can never be able to actually be, you cannot expand your business using a stock only. If you have a stock of, let's say, 1 million Kenyan shillings, you cannot be able to expand that business beyond that. The only way we expand our business is actually reinvesting back that what we've been making as our net profit, so that we can grow our business to the next level. All right. The reason of why people get confused is that you mix up all this amount of money. So what happens, you find this individual, you only have what you call a single account, okay? Where meaning like all your money is being channeled towards this. Your savings is towards this circle. Your personal usage towards this account. The other amount of money that is stocking and what have you, you're putting in one account. So tell me what will happen. You do not have a distinctive ways of explaining to you what amount of money is going where. So at that particular kind of a state, you're mixing up all these things, and you can get yourself into lots of problem. Now, I'm going to give you a very distinctive ways what you're supposed to be doing. For example, I'm going to go step by step. For example, now, you start with your stocking, all right? Forget about the stocking. There's something called a business account. A business account is simply meaning that account where you usually deposit your money that is meant for restocking the business and also making sure that your business is actually running smoothly. Make sure that at least you deposit that amount of money. That is your business account. This is where you put all the money that is running the operation of that given business, buying the commodities and what have you, all right? And at this particular point, then we come to what we call another business account. This is where you also deposit that amount of money that you ought to pay your employees. And at this particular situation, we say, let's say maybe you have like 3 employees, or you have three personnel, as what we call them, okay? 3 personnel. At that particular point, let's say maybe you pay them at 2,000 each. At 2,000 each, it means that you need to have what? A 6,000 Kenyan shillings. Let's give it like that, right? So that is the amount of money that you ought to pay them each and every time, whatever the time you pay them. Let's say maybe it's a week. That's the amount of money you have to have it, okay? So in this specific account, you have that amount of money that is going for the stocking, right? And also you have to set aside that money is ought to do what? To make sure that at least you pay your personnel and what have you, okay? Another thing on this business account, you also need to do what? You make sure that you have that what you call the rental income, or that not the rental income, but rather the amount of money that you're paying for that business place that you rent, okay, or maybe you're leasing, or whichever the point, okay. You make sure that at least you have that amount of money there. You can say the rent of the business, or we can say the leasing amount of that given businesses, and also the licensing come here, the permits and all other things usually falls under this kind of account. Remember, under this account, you already know, okay, before you even deposit any amount of money there, you have to understand this is a business account, tick. Number two, I have 3 personnel whom I have to pay each and every week 6,000, tick. So you already know it's 6,000. So under the stock of the amount of money that you need to do the stocking and what have you, say let's say maybe it's $1 million bob. So you already know if there is $1 million bob in my account, I have already stocked my business. If I have another 6,000, I've paid my employees. If I have like let's say 10,000 or 20,000, depends on what you're paying from that premise. If I have my 20,000, I've already paid my rental payment as far as that business or leasing is concerned. If I have like 10,000 per year, I already paid my what? My licensing and the permits. So under that category, you've already distinguished, or rather you have actually distinguished between this amount of money. So you've exhausted that area of the business. Everything is covered, right? Now, the other account you need to have is what we call the personal account. Right, from the same business. Remember, we are referring to this individual who is making 7,000 every day from his business. Now, the other one is about the personal account. The personal account under this category, this is where you pay your home rent, right, where you live. Say if you have not built your place. The other thing, this is where you get your fueling your car, or maybe let's say transport, generally transport. All right, under this category also, this is where you're paying your school fees if you have yourself kids and what have you, school fees, okay. The other one, you need to also get the money to do what we call the food, all right. You also money to do what? The utilities, okay. Another thing, you also need to get what we call, these general things that you need to do, entertainment, clothing, and what have you. Let me just call it entertainment and what have you. And the one is about the black tax if you're paying any and such kind of things. Now, under this category, you already have this personal account. Now, what happens is, like, let's say maybe you pay here 10,000, okay, 10K here, maybe another one, maybe let's say is 3,000 here. Okay, okay, let's say maybe here it's another 10K. Just making some figures to explain to you what I mean. School fees, maybe let's say everything here is 10K, 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 okay? So under this category, you already know, like, hey, I need, like, let's just give a crazy figure out there for the purposes of mathematics. Let's say maybe you need like 60,000, okay? 60K for your typical month to survive under the personal account. So under that category, you already know, hey, guess what? Out of my profit, which is 7,000, okay, it means, and by the way, don't forget this. This 7,000 is what you are using to pay your personnel from the business. This 7,000 is the same amount of money that you're actually using to pay your rent for the business, okay? Okay, so if it means that you're paying like 20,000 per month or 30,000 per month, it means that each and every day you have to set aside 1,000 bob for the sake of your rent. If you pay your guys 6,000 at the end of the month, then it means that you have to set aside at least 200 Kenyan shillings each and every day, so that at least you already know from my business, my rent and my personnel, they require 1,200. So there's things that you've already set aside, okay? The other thing, you also know that from this personnel, you're also actually funding all that thing using the 7,000 that you're getting out there. So if it's 60,000, so you take the 60,000, you divide by 30, okay, 30, then it means like you're getting what? Or you need to have 2,000 each and every day to sustain your life. Then what does that mean? It means now you take the 2,000, you subtract 7,000, subtract 2,000, all right, meaning you get 5,000. Now the 5,000, you subtract 1,200. Which one? The rent and paying for your guys. Now it means that you're remaining with 3,800. Okay, 3,800. Now this is the savable amount of money. And maybe let's say you tore the electricity from your house and what, you're remaining with 3,000 each and every day out of the 7,000 that you're getting as your net profit. Now, what do you do? Now, this one now escalates us to a different level, having the third account. Okay, the third account now, it's about the savings account. Okay, now we're progressing well, so that at least I explained to you what you're supposed to be doing so that you don't get confused. Now here you have your 3,000 as the savable amount. We call it savable amount. This is amount that has the potential to be saved on its entirety. Now this amount of money, remember one thing I said, you cannot be able to grow or expand your business using the stocks because it's remaining constant. Now this amount of money that you're saving each and every day is ought to be used to make sure that at least you progress yourself, you develop yourself, and do all other things. Now this is where the problem comes in. You find sometimes you may not have the money that is enough to actually go ahead and restock the business. Then it means that some of the times, or most of the time, you might be forced to borrow from the savings account so that at least you can fund the business. But once you get the repayment from the business, you take that money that you did borrow from your savings, you take it from the business account to your savings account. If you differentiate your things that way, then you can be able to monitor how your businesses are moving. Remember another thing, this saving that you're doing, this saving account, it is the money that you can use to expand your business. It's the money that you can use to start a different business. It's the amount of money that you can be able to get it and invest in a different area. Now, when you have those three things differentiated that way, it becomes very easier for you to monitor all the progress of your business. It becomes very easier for you to actually understand, this is my personal expenses, this is my savings, and this is my business. So when you have all those three different accounts, it may appear as if it's a bit tedious, but unless you do exactly that, you're gonna be rubbing shoulders with your business, and you'll be in a situation whereby you're saying, hey, I think I'm doing good in my business. I think I'm actually, I think I'm making quite a good amount of money, but I don't know at the end of the day where my money is actually going. So that is quite an amazing thing that you're supposed to follow. That is the procedure. It may appear tedious, I agree, but that is the simplest way you can be able to use. And this one actually falls under these guys who usually have what we call the complementary businesses. I had a client who came on board, and the guy was having the pig farming, and also he was having like a butchery where he was selling the pork and what have you. And the guy was having a very tough time running that business because he was just having a single account for the entire stretch of businesses, all the way from his farm to the businesses to his bank account. So you're supposed to understand, how much does it take me to actually go ahead and rear that pig, all the way from piglet to having that big pig and what have you, to a point whereby I can be able to slaughter and get some meat and what have you. So you understand, you have a separate account so that you understand, hey, this is a farming account and this is the amount of money that I'm making from my farm, because I have personnel whom I have employed back at home or where I'm actually having that project, and also have an account whereby I need also to pay the guys whom I've employed from my businesses and what have you. So whenever you draw a line between those two businesses, don't treat them as one single entity. You can, if you have the capacity to differentiate and already attend at all the times understanding the numbers. But if you find yourself in a bit tricky, then I would advise go ahead and have yourself clearly two different accounts. And from that point, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna be having a very smooth ride as far as the businesses are concerned. That's the end of my video, but don't forget, you can always grab my number from the description of this specific call, or rather video. Get my number. Let's talk businesses. I offer those services. You can as well grab my booklets about investments of different areas: shares, stocks, MMF, treasury bills and bonds and circles and what have you. Copy goes for $280. For now is a goodbye, and see you in the next one.